Last week, the Vikings had to have the biggest comeback in NFL history. Let's hope they don't have to do that again this week against the Giants. We dive into it. Let's go. Well, guys, have you come down from the high that is a 33-point comeback last Saturday against the Colts? How are you feeling?
We're still on an all-time high, and we plan on riding it out all year long.
Yeah, being a Vikings fan, it was great in the moment, but now I've moved on, and we still gotta get through playoffs. So,
right. Yeah. And as fun as it is to win one-score games, could we finally just have one where we win by 2 scores or more? Come on, man. They're just giving everybody a heart attack. And this weekend, Christmas Eve, we have the Giants at home. It's going to be a whiteout. Alex, I know
Alex's
you projected.
lights
fell. Your lights just fell in the background.
Just keep going. It doesn't matter. But
yeah. Alex, you talked about the whiteout in the last podcast. Have you heard anything? Are we going to have a white helmet? I saw the video. It looked like purple, but...
Yeah, they had the purple helmets in the video, which I feel like if they're still keeping the secret, they probably shot the video, with the normal ones, shot one with the white ones. But I don't know, because I feel like if you've seen the leaked photo, it looks like it's just in someone's basement, so it's like doesn't look very professional.
Oh, there's a leaked photo of it?
Yeah, but it looks like it could have been like a replica someone made, so it's like kind of 50-50 on it, but I still got my fingers crossed. I think the white helmets would look amazing.
Is there precedent for something like that? Have other teams done white helmets, or have the Vikings done surprises before?
Well, not the Vikings per se, but across the league this year, they've been allowed to do like alternate helmets. So I know the Texans had like an all red one. The Panthers had an all blue or all black. I can't remember. So teams around the league have started doing it this year. So just kind of feels like it makes sense. And I think it would look sweet.
Yeah, for sure. The stadium's going to look awesome in all white. Plus, we're going to have... They're calling it a land blizzard because we're supposed to get so much snow midweek this week, and all the snow that's falling right now is supposed to just be blowing everywhere. So I guarantee there's going to be lots of footage of whiteout, not just in the stadium, but outside the stadium. So we'll see how many people can make it to the game safely, hopefully. But that's Christmas Eve. And we all remember the last time that the Vikings had a massive win, which was the Bills game. Crazy comeback there. But then the next game, we got just absolutely rocked by the Cowboys. Do you think that there's any correlation in that, or is the momentum in the favor of the Vikings going into this Saturday's game?
I think the momentum's in favor of the Vikings. I think overall they're going to be the better team out there. Plus, it's a home game, so I think.
So is the Cowboys.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that too. But no, it's a Vikings at home. I think.
Yeah.
Momentum's in our favor. So.
Yeah, momentum. It's definitely a huge thing. Definitely plays into it. And coming off like a big win like that, sometimes, you get a little too comfortable and let a team come in and jump on you early. And so there's definitely that possibility that we do get comfortable. But I mean, I'd rather be taking wins and gaining that momentum rather than, losing close games.
Well, hopefully we don't see too close of a game and the Vikings start to run away with it. But we do know, I think at least we better see, the first thing we're going to see off the game in the beginning is JJ breaking Randy Moss's single-season Vikings receiving record, which he set in 2003. Jefferson is only 9 yards short. How early in the game do you think we see it? Do we see it on the first drive, first play, or are they going to kind of use that as, hey, the other team knows it's coming?
Yeah, I feel like they're going to try to feed it to him early, but they always do. So,
right. Is that something that's in their minds? You think? Are they going to try to make a play that's more than 9 yards?
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to break it. Obviously, I don't know if they're necessarily going to try to do it right away, just specifically for that reason. I think first and foremost, they just they're going to try and win. But
yeah, do you think, Alex, we see any kind of stoppage of play if he gets it? Do they stop and celebrate like when somebody steals their 500th base?
They'll probably keep the ball for sure, but yeah.
I don't think they'll stop play for a franchise record. If he breaks the NFL record, possibly, but I don't know, 9 yards. I think it's something that's going to be in the back of their heads, but I think they're just going to go out there and play their football. I don't think they're really too worried about it right now. All that matters is just winning games and getting into the playoffs. So, if he gets that record, then that's wonderful. But I don't think it's anything they're going to script or game plan around.
All right. Well, that's good to know. We'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll see him break it. Let's start with the Vikings offense a little bit before we get into the defense that needs some talking about. But with the offense, we saw Delvin Cook break out, KJ Osborne. What do you expect this week?
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game because you have two pretty good offenses going. Well, I would say the Vikings offense is better than pretty good, but you have two good offenses going against. They both have pretty bad defenses, so I think there's going to be a lot of passing. And then, also Dalvin Cook and Saquon Barkley, they're both really good running backs. They both have pretty similar stats actually on the year. And they're both averaging about 4.5 yards per carry. They're both over 1,000 yards on the season. So yeah, I think we're going to see, as far as our offense goes, they're going to be spreading the ball around, running it, throwing it. The Giants D is actually our defense is pretty bad, but the Giants D is 28th in opponent yards per play. That's where they're ranked. So ours is ranked worse than that, but yeah, they're 28th. And so yeah, I think it's just going to be a high scoring game. We're going to be seeing the ball going everywhere. All of our receivers, our tight end, they're going to be running it. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and I feel like the key to success, we already know our receivers and running backs are great. I think it's really going to come down to, is the O-line going to hold up today? Because we look last week against the Colts, and Cousins was just under constant pressure, sacked a ton, and that makes his job really difficult, makes our offense slow down. I feel like we really need to key in on Kayvon Thibodeau. He's the Giants' first-round pick this year. Just an unreal, super athletic D lineman that, has been kind of on an upward trajectory. So slowing him down and, our O-line doing their job is going to help out Kirk a ton.
Yeah. He is listed as questionable for the game, so we'll see.
Thibodeau is?
Yeah.
Okay. Was he out at all last game, or is this something that popped up in between? Doesn't
No, he played last week. He scored a touchdown.
Okay. Nice. Well, yeah, so obviously you said the Vikings offensive line. Speaking of questionable too, I don't know if you guys heard, we talked about, it's snowing and everything here. It was snowing last week after the game on Saturday, and everybody driving home, it was massive traffic. And Garrett Bradbury actually got in a car accident, and he's been having lower back issues already as it is. Luckily, the accident wasn't terrible. The guy just went right through, slid, and hit him, and a normal winter car accident. It happens. Nothing too crazy over the top. Right, a fender bender, but enough where it shook him up to possibly aggravate his back again. He's questionable as of right now. The guy who hit him didn't even know he played for the Vikings, which is kind of funny, but I don't know. Yeah, you're just oh, who's this oversized man that I just hit in his car?
I don't know if you just recognize, any, offensive lineman just out on the street, It's...
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think that has any kind of impact, or do you think he plays?
Well, I think at this point, they have no reason not to be cautious. I think if anyone's kind of that questionable, they'll just sit him at this point because, they want everyone to be healthy going into playoffs. But they might sit him just as a precaution, yeah.
Yeah, and he's been good this year. There was a lot of talk preseason about trying to replace him, find somebody else, and he's been solid. So that's been good to see. But the Vikings defense has not been solid. We mentioned it a little bit, but let's kind of dive into that. We all know that the Vikings defense has had issues this year, and last week in the first half, they were absolutely horrific, allowed 33 points. But we saw them kind of change that bend, don't break mentality and transfer it into we got nothing to lose. Let's go for it, be aggressive. They were blitzing more. Do you think we see that transfer into the Giants game this week, or did they go and revert back to what they were prior to the second half in the Colts game that we talked about on the last podcast?
I sure hope so. I mean, that's the kind of defense you want to see out of this group. We saw more blitzes, we saw, more press, a little more aggression, kind of like our defense playing with their hair on fire. And I think that was great for our squad. I feel like we really did a good job kind of hawking to the ball and just shutting things down at the start. Hopefully that continues and we don't revert back to this very old school bend, don't break, rush four men, like kind of
Right.
thing we've been doing. Because I feel like that's where, if we're just going to give up all those easy yards underneath, teams are going to attack it and turn them into big chunk plays. So I feel like, pressuring the quarterback and getting those DBs up in the guy's face. I know we don't have the best secondary, but just cause a little disruption. Good things will happen.
Yeah. Talk about like the secondary too. I think, as we already said, this is going to be kind of a high scoring game because the defenses that we're talking about here are both, ranked pretty low on points per yard plays. So we said earlier that, the Giants are 28th. The Vikings are 31st in points per yards per play, and they're 30th in pass yards. Pass yards
32nd in total yards too.
Yeah.
It's awful.
So yeah, I think like he would say, we don't have the best secondary. I think they are going to pass on us. I think they're going to run on us with Saquon Barkley. I know their receiving core is banged up right now. They Sterling Shepard lives on the IR, and
Wan'Dale Robinson.
Wan'Dale Robinson is on the IR right now. He was their rookie this year, who was actually showing a pretty promising start to the season. But yeah, even before then though, they didn't have the greatest receiving core. But against a Vikings defense that is ranked 31st against pass attempts, I think they're going to be taking shots down the field, and I think it's going to be a high scoring game. So hopefully we can see a little bit of what we saw in the second half last week against the Giants.
Yeah, for sure. And before we get into
actually, oh, sorry. I was just going to say another thing too is people might not know this, but the Giants actually have kind of sneakily their offense is one of the best offenses in the red zone. They score on
really,
I think it was 60-something% of their red zone appearances. So yeah.
Well, hopefully we can hold them to field goals.
Yeah. So they have a really good red zone offense. So that's something to look out for too. We have to play really really well in the red zone against them.
We need to bend, not break.
We need to bend, not break. Yeah.
Oh, I'm tired of hearing that. All right. Well, before we get into our predictions for the game and who we think's going to win, is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch on? Anything that anyone who's watching this game should keep an eye on? Anything from coaching staff, injuries, offense, defense that we didn't touch on already?
I would say definitely keep an eye on how the Vikings contain Saquon and Daniel Jones's running game, because I feel like that's kind of going to dictate everything. Because I feel like if we force them into a passing game, we'll be in a better situation. Because I mean, their receiving core, like Josh said, is pretty banged up right now. I think who is it? I can't think of their top receiver right now, but
Darius Slayton, we can probably
Slayton. Slayton with their top receiver. He's a good receiver, but in the NFL, there's that.
And none of their receivers are putting up numbers none of them are putting up numbers like JJ, and then even Thielen, who's pretty far behind JJ, has better numbers than a lot of their receivers. So yeah.
No, and Saquon is the end, or the fuel to this engine. If we can slow him down, I feel like it'll kind of shut down the whole offense.
Yeah, yep. He has more rush attempts this year, than Dalvin Cook and more yards, but they're also averaging, like I said, the same. So he's I would say Dalvin Cook's having a great season. So obviously Saquon Barkley's having a great season too.
If we start seeing the Vikings shut down him on the run game, do you think they open up the passing game to him a bit more? We've seen a lot of quick screen passes to him. Is that something that worries you, or how has he been in the passing game the last few?
I mean, Saquon's just one of those players where you get him the ball in space and good things happen. He's just a playmaker. So anytime he gets the ball, he's great. So definitely shutting down the screen game and the dump off passes to him is going to be a big part of it.
Yeah, and like Alex said too, Danny Dimes can run too. So he's he's a threat there as well.
Is he the kind of quarterback that, he's not like a Josh Allen or a Jalen Hurts, I assume. What kind of running quarterback would you compare him to? Not a Kirk, but
I don't know if he has a great comparison in the league, but I would call him sneaky athletic. That term gets thrown around a lot, but I feel like it's totally fits Daniel Jones. You look at him and he looks like a Tom Brady and Eli Manning. Like, but once he starts moving, he can really get going. He's one of the more elusive running quarterbacks in the league. So definitely need to shut him down and keep him in check.
All right. Well,
I don't know. You probably all saw the video of him like breaking away for that touchdown where he just tripped over his own feet. That was hilarious.
It's like 5 yards away.
I know it's embarrassing, but yeah, no, he's quick. Yeah, he's
almost as embarrassing
athletic
as Mac Jones getting run over. But enough about that.
But yeah, he can. Yeah, he's good, man. They don't call him Danny Dimes for nothing.
Right. All right, well, let's get into predictions then. Saturday, noon game at home. Alex, I'll start with you. What's your score prediction? Who's going to win? And do you have any other predictions in the game that you want to toss out there that could happen? My first one being that Jefferson is going to break Randy Moss's record. I take that one.
I was going to say Jefferson over 100 yards.
All right.
KJ Osborne over 5 targets. And we're going to see a 27-17 Vikings victory.
All right, kind of a low-scoring game.
Yeah, that's
compared to
I think the Vegas. What are the odds? I think the over is like 40 points.
48.
Or something.
Yeah.
48.
48.
Is that what it is? Okay.
And
yeah,
we're favored by 4.
Yeah. My prediction is I think it's going to be the Vikings at home that we're going to win. I think, Jefferson definitely over 100 yards. I also think that the Giants are going to have one of their receivers go over 100 yards. I don't know who, because I don't know. We never know with them. But yeah,
one of them.
it's going to be an offensive game. It's going to be a shootout. I'm going to say 34-30 Vikings.
All right.
So another one-score game.
Another one-score game. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go for a non-one-score game this time. I'm tired of the one-score games. And you remember last time, obviously, predicted the Colts to win. That worked out. I told you, win-win. I got to be there for the craziness. And if they would have lost, I would have been like, hey, told you they were going to win. But this time, I do feel like the Vikings are going to win. And I think you're right. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, but only on the Vikings side. I'm going to say 33-24. That's my pick. And I think Delvin Cook is going to go over 100 yards rushing.
I honestly, I would love to see...
because we're up by so much, why wouldn't you just run?
Yeah. I would love to see the Vikings defense step up just once this season.
Yes.
That would be amazing to just see, I don't know.
Let's do this. Let's
hold the Giants to a field goal. I don't know.
Let's do a sack prediction. All right, Josh, you can start this one off. How many sacks will the Vikings have? And we'll see who can get closer.
How many sacks will they have? I'm going to say
in the game.
1.
1. Oh.
Yeah.
I'll be generous. I'll go with 2.
Yeah.
All right. I will say 6. I'll go high.
Okay.
And we'll see what happens.
Well, that's just not going to happen.
3
but
for Hunter. That's my pick. They're going to go. They're due. They're due. It's going to happen. You'll see. All right. Well, make sure you guys wear white to any parties you're going to on Christmas Eve, because it's a whiteout in Minnesota, and drive safe. It's going to be very miserable out there. It already is. Snow is coming down. It is cold. The feels like this week, every day is below 20 to 40 below. So be careful. It's going to be a land blizzard. Make sure you guys watch the game. Hopefully you can catch it at some Christmas Eve party, and it's at noon on Saturday. Subscribe to our YouTube. We'll have a video out sometime after the game, going through it, talking about discussions. We do that every time. Like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter as well for some updates during the game, and follow us anywhere else you find Hot Dish Sports. Skol Vikes.
Watch out for deer.